This is Mark from the Parlor Mob, and we're at Popularity.
This dog has been out for a little bit now. Looking back, are you still satisfied?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, it was definitely a step in a forward direction, but and it's different than the first record, but I think it was the logical progression, and we're all happy with the way that it turned out, and we were a lot more hands-on with this record than we were on the first one. So I think for all those reasons, it was a big, growing record. And, I mean, we're all very excited at the idea of doing a third too, so we don't want so much time to pass this time between records.
Now, your bio says that you guys feel that you have a very long way to go before, or like things to accomplish before you're actually going to be satisfied. What will it take to satisfy you?
I think, we definitely want to get to, further down the road as far as success. I think we'd like, um, just to be able to make a living from it a little bit better. You know what I mean? Like there's that aspect of it, like the realistic and aspect of it, and there's also, I think, with the creative, like there's just a lot more places we want to go. I think we all think that we have a long way to go as a band as far as just, songwriting and what we're capable of.
I also read that you guys feel that this album has amplified your goals. So how have your goals changed between then and now, like the last album and this one?
I think we just realized with this record that do a lot more, like lot more different types of things. Like we could be very heavy, like heavier than we thought we could be, and we can be softer, and they can like all fit under the same, band umbrella. Like just like kind of um, went past some of the boundaries that were like mental boundaries that maybe we had, for before this record, stuff like that. I think.
Do you feel that this album is a continuation or a reaction to the last?
It's a continuation, very much so. It's just like chapter 2. There'll be chapter 3, hopefully chapter 4, 5, and 6,
Is it tough for you to know when you're onto something good?
Uh, yeah, I mean, it's hard, like, when you're in the midst of the writing process to be objective about it, but usually you can tell if something feels good, to play, and if you get, like, stoked about it or whatever, that's usually a good sign, but, usually you have to get away from it for a little while, demo it, and then just kind of take some time, listen to it, when you're just hanging out or like whatever, and see how it makes you feel in that way.
Where does the song start?
It could start anywhere. I mean, sometimes it starts with us just jamming on like, just before practice, before we're gonna like start practicing, or after we play some of our old tunes, like we'll just start jamming on something. And other times it's like someone has an idea that they bring in like a riff, or I'll come in with like a melody or something on the guitar, or whatever. Sam has an idea on the drums or something like that. So it just could be any which way.
What do you find to be the hardest part of the creative process?
Um, I think it's hard to serve everybody's. Sometimes it can be hard to serve everybody's sensibilities. Like like for it to be, um, like for it to feel like a Parlor Mob song to everybody. That's could be the hardest part. Sometimes when people will think this, it's the nature of being in a group with 5 people and it being a democracy.
Working on tracks, are you ever surprised at how good they become? Are there any on the album that surprised you, either in a good or bad way?
Yeah, I mean, a good portion of the record to me is a surprise. Like songs like Into the Sun, like, it's just funny, and hard enough. I mean, the whole record to me, it's just surprising, like, where it went and how we wrote it and all that sort of stuff. Like, it's just, you never know what's going to happen when you put 5 individuals into a situation, like what we're going to come up with. So it's just cool in that respect.
What would you consider the strongest outside influence on this album?
Hmm. Strongest outside influence on this album. Well, I think that's actually easier than I initially thought. I mean, just negative. There's a lot of negative forces that like. It's hard to be a band in this day and age because music isn't as big a part of people's lives as it used to be seemingly, and like there's so much other forms of entertainment. With all the different forms of technology and all that sort of thing, and you also don't make as much money as a musician anymore because of internet and the record labels taking a dive. So you know, definitely one of the biggest influencing factors is just dealing with that like aspect of being on a band on a record label, dealing with that sort of crap, just the kind of uphill battles of it all.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like definitely it.
You guys want people to interpret your music for themselves. Is that the same feeling that you have when you're listening to some of your favorite bands? Do you want to interpret for yourself, or do you still want to know like their thought process?
Um, I guess I always like to, it's always interesting to hear when like an artist will be like, oh, this song is about that, like blah, 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 blah. But I think that's only because so rarely do people do that. And like the artists that I really respect, they don't very rarely do that. And if they do, it's like really, really brief little, windows into their songwriting process or what a song is, you know what I mean? I just think that that sort of mystery is very cool. So as a listener, yeah, I would love that information. But as an artist, like I withhold that information just for the reason of it having meaning and having for it holding weight. If that makes
Mhm.
sense.
At this point, what do you value most about the band?
Just our friendship and camaraderie. I mean, that's always been the most important part. And if there was ever like a time when it didn't make sense to do it anymore, like I think we've always discussed that. What's most important to us is that we remain as close as we are now.
What would you say were the biggest obstacles that you had to work around for this album?
Financial ones, stuff like that. Record label stress, crap like that. Just like the average like band, on like in our scenario. It's not uncommon, It's not uncommon for us. So just that sort of stuff.
What qualities did the songs on the album share that made you choose them for the album?
Basically, we wrote them all in the same short period of time, like in the same year period, 6 months or whatever. They were all kind of written in the same mind frame. We were going, in just the same. If you write like a bunch of songs in the same period of time, they tend to have a like an element of cohesiveness, So that's really. There was definitely songs that we didn't use, but even now we're like starting to like experience those songs and play them at practice just to like, and realizing that a lot of those songs were really good too, and maybe we'll want to release them in some way sometime.
Can you describe your attraction in music?
For me, it's like just something I've always had an inclination towards creativity. So it's like a natural thing for me. Like some people are inclined to play football or inclined to, you know, whatever it is that their personal interests are, something that just comes naturally to them or whatever. And for me, it's always been like either writing or some sort of artistic outlet.
Do you think that you're surprising any fans on this tour? Are you doing anything different?
I mean, yeah, we try and play a somewhat different set every night. Like we're very much a jammy kind of in the moment vibe oriented band. So anytime someone can come see us 4 consecutive nights, they're gonna get 4 different shows.
And any final thoughts? Anything that you'd like to say to the Ragers of Popularity?
Just to come check us out live. If you like the record, you'll love the live show. That's for sure. And to just stick with us. We ain't going nowhere, and we plan on making more and more music, and hopefully bring it to a bigger audience with every time.